Hi there, good evening. Welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for your wonderful company. You are watching EBN Prime Edition on this 11th day of April 2024. So it is Thursday and we've got quite a bit in store. The medical strike continues to rage on. Patients are suffering in public hospitals. The man that has not been talking about it for quite a while now, that is the opposition leader, Raila Odinga, has now appeared. So we've got that report and much more making headlines across the country. But first, let's take a look at news making headlines tonight.
I therefore have a personal appeal to both the government and the doctors.
Health crisis deepens as opposition leader Raila Odinga asks government to deal with the strike. Owner of deadly brew that killed more than 17 people in Kirinyaga County arraigned in court. Late President Daniel Arap Moi's daughter June Moi dead. Family yet to announce cause of death. All right, it is good to have you. My name is Cynthia Nanjala. Let's take a look at what is making headlines across the country. EBN Prime Edition kicks off right now. After weeks of silence, opposition leader Raila Odinga has finally spoken out on the ongoing doctors' strike, which has crippled medical services across Kenya, with negotiations between the state and the Kenya Medical Practitioners Pharmacists and Dentists Union KMPDU hitting an impasse. Speaking in Lavington, Nairobi on Thursday following an ODM National Executive Committee meeting, Odinga appealed to the government and the KMPDU to find a middle ground to facilitate the resumption of medical services. Nearly a month since doctors countrywide began their strike, Azimio leader Raila Odinga has for the first time weighed in on the crisis, urging the state to address the stalemate. Hot on the heels of queries and concerns from a section of Kenyans who questioned his silence on the matter, the ODM leader said Kenyans have suffered enough because of a crisis. The Azimio boss said that the strike has disrupted healthcare at the country's public hospitals.
We are of the view that the situation is moving from bad to worse, and soon we will have a full-blown crisis in which all health workers will don their tools.
Raila Odinga addressed the press conference on Thursday, calling on both the government and doctors to reason together on issues raised and avert further suffering for Kenyans. The ODM leader has asked the state to pay medical interns, look into the fees and salaries for doctors pursuing further studies, and address the unprocedural termination of their services.
I am convinced that the doctors and all other health workers currently on strike will be able to craft a return-to-work formula and resume duty if the government were to meet their demands halfway while negotiations continue. We therefore appeal to the government to address itself to the following three broad areas as a way of progress towards ending this strike.
The Azimio boss has also appealed to the government to reinstate the 206,000 shillings pay for interns until the next CBA negotiation.
During that next round of negotiations, both parties will put their cases on the table for consideration. Counties are supposed to pay salaries of doctors who are enrolled for further studies like master's degree, while the Ministry of Health is supposed to pay fees. My understanding is that while counties have kept their side of the arrangement, the Ministry of Health has failed to do so since 2018.
Medical officers, clinical officers, and medical laboratories officers have been on a strike that has crippled services in public hospitals, with patients undergoing suffering. The government, the Ministry of Health, and the Salaries and Remunerations Commission (SRC) is adamant that medical interns' pay will not be improved.
We ask them to act now, and if they don't, of course they know that the consequences will be very grave indeed. Thank you very much.
Still in the medical sector, the Kenya Medical Association now says they will mobilize medics from private health facilities to join the nationwide doctor strike that entered its 29th day. Additionally, Kenya Medical Practitioner Pharmacists and Dentists Union have criticized the Kenyatta University Teaching and Referral Hospital for employing foreign doctors who they say will earn more than what doctors in the country are demanding.
Because they are not being affected, the political class, and they are there, and they have covers. In the next 7 days, we will mobilize private sector where they go to support this cause by withdrawing their services. It will not be the first time we have done that. That is how we solved the 2017 strike where doctors were jailed for fighting for rights.
But more disappointing is the self-hate being perpetuated by this government. When they brought the Cubans, they were paying each Cuban almost 1 million shillings with a driver, a house, and food, and security. And I can tell you that the only thing those Cubans did was to kill Kenyans with malpractices and learn from us. We never learned from them. Right now, the foreign doctors who have been brought are being paid 540,000 with return air tickets for them and their families, with housing, free food, accommodation, and all that. Yet the only thing the doctors in KU are asking for was just to be paid half of that and to be put on right terms. In KU, they were employing doctors, cardiothoracic surgeons on 1-month contracts.
Nokempidiu Nyanza Chairman Dr. Onyango Ndonga has condemned remarks by Kisumu County Governor Anyang' Nyong'o over stopping remuneration of doctors who will not report to work henceforth. He said the strike will go on despite intimidations coming from both national and county governments. Elsewhere, clinical officers in Western Kenya have dismissed reports that they are back to work, insisting the strike is still on and want Governor Anne Waiguru and Acting Deputy Governor Health out over what they term misconduct in handling of the collective bargaining agreement.
The right to strike for 60 years have been recognized by ILO as a way of dispute resolution, and our Constitution, Article 41, recognizes the right to go on strike by the workers as one of the activities that the unions participate in. And therefore, this does not hinder our resolve. This does not dampen our spirit to fight for what is rightfully ours. We want to thank Kenyans who, despite the very difficult times, they have supported us.
Solidarity forever. Ratification of the Clinical Officer Career Progression Scheme is essential for operational efficiency. Counties in Western and Nyanza have failed to employ, promote, and redesignate our members, affecting morale and exacerbating staff shortages. We commend, and this one should be taken very seriously. We commend the Governor of Siaya, James Orengo, for supporting our ongoing strike. And we urge other governors to also do the same as we prioritize dialogue with the COG for CBA realization.
Doctors in Turkana County have expressed some of their frustrations that they are undergoing when providing medical services to residents of Turkana County. It is a sad state of affairs for more than 70% of residents that if they get hurt or sick and in urgent need of medical assistance, then they are likely to lose their life. The doctors have revealed that shortage of ambulances in a section of sub-county hospitals in Turkana forces doctors to use boda to ferry patients to the Lodwar and referral hospitals. Now, they mentioned that the recent incident occurred where a doctor was forced to transport a patient by boda and was in critical condition to the Lodwar and referral hospital. Now, most ambulances have grounded up because of mechanical problems in the garages. According to the Chief Officer of Health, Dr. Gilchrist Locoel, she confirmed that some ambulances have already been grounded due to mechanical issues.
Of these 23 ambulances, they have all been actually decentralized to sub-counties and to sub-county hospitals. This is for the simple reason that so that they can be able to quickly respond in a timely manner to all emergencies that will occur. So time after time, of the 23 ambulances, there are a few that are actually due for service, so they're in garages. There are a few that have mechanical issues because you know the terrain of Turkana. But by my records, by Tuesday, this week Tuesday, 14 ambulances were actually operational in the entire of Turkana County and stationed at various ports of entry to respond to emergencies.
Find only one doctor covering one whole sub-county. And this doctor has to deal with the medical issues, the surgical issues, and all the emergencies. And in case there's a referral from one sub-county to the main hospital, LCRH, there's no proper referral system. You find patients being carried by border borders. We're losing mothers who are being carried. They need emergency CSs, and they're being carried through border borders. We don't have proper referral systems in the county, and we demand, if there is no proper health care or proper services that you are going to offer, we demand the government to sit with us, or we'll go on a complete shutdown. As for now, we are dealing with emergencies, but if our needs are not met, we will go on a complete shutdown.
What period are you giving the government?
We are giving the government a period of 21 days for Turkana County.
To the corridors of courts, the owner of the bar that killed 17 people will wait between 60 to 90 days for bond application as ordered by the Kerugoya High Court in Kirinyaga. Kerugoya High Court Judge Richard Mwongo has said the bail application of the owner of that particular bar in Kangai and Kandongo will be concluded after witnesses identified by the prosecution team are heard within 60 to 90 days.
The accused has been charged with other offences in 8 cases filed in Baricho. The defence pointed out, however, that in those cases he has been bonded in respect of each of them. I view the failure of the defence to respond to the averments above as a matter of substance. Whilst it is true that the accused has a constitutional right to bail, that right is subject to the existence of compelling reasons. Compelling reasons place the interests of the accused in tension with the interests of the victims, the interests of the state, and the interests of the public. Satisfied that the public interests and the interests of the accused require that at this point he be kept in an environment of absolute safety in light of the IO's affidavit. Prepared to retain the bail application as pending until after the hearing of the 7 witnesses who were identified by the state as crucial, and who may be easily interfered with as they are all blind. The application for bail is not dismissed but may be concluded after the hearing of the aforesaid 7 witnesses.
Now, businessman Nashon Otieno Anguda has been arraigned in court and charged with 2 criminal counts of conspiracy to commit a felony, contrary to Section 393 of the Penal Code. Anguda is alleged to have conspired to steal over 37.5 million shillings from the Sarinda Singh by falsely pretending that the money was meant to hire a private jet and payment of insurance and taxes for 300 kilograms of gold, which was to be transported from Kenya to Dubai. Appearing before Magistrate Gilbert Shikwe, the accused denied the charges and was detained in custody, awaiting bail and bond ruling on Friday.
Prior to his arrest, he had cooperated with the DCI and had visited the police, Capital Lily, also officers twice. We believe bail is not of a national level. You want to be plead for a legal custody. Directions will be issued to the body to remain in custody.
The UDA National Elections Board has allayed fears over rigging claims in upcoming party polls by the party's elected leaders. This is after aspirants protested during a meeting with the party's elections board that currently elected leaders will have a head start. Now, the party was meeting aspirants from Nairobi's 17 constituencies at the Hustler Center in Nairobi.
Ruhusu wale the elected leaders wako kwa viti bando wasimame kwa viti tena, sababu kuna wale wamelipa. Hiyo ni moja. Hiyo nayo sisi kama sisi hatutakubali. Ya pili, sababu tutatumia pia pesa zetu. Hizi viti kuna kitu tutalipwa kweli. Ni vizuri pia tujue kama iko na kamshahara, kwa sababu tusikute mtu nauza ng'ombe alafu nifungiwe nyumba.
Tunarudi tena pale. Wale ambao register kwa party over 20,000 people bado wanangojea pale. Na tena tunarudi na election nyingine. Na mbunge amekaa chini na MCS wale ambao wa chama cha ODM. Tunatoka katika ngome cha ODM. Na wamepanga kuvuruga hii exercise yetu. Kwa sababu wataki kitu inaitwa UDA.
Issue ya elected leaders. Mnajua party leader wa chama amechaguliwa hajachaguliwa? Deputy party leader. So pia wanasiasa pia nyinyi mtachaguliwa siku moja. Sikizeni. Hii kitu sikizeni. Hii mkutano haiwezi badilisha katiba ya chama. Katiba ya chama kwa sasa inawaruhusu, hata mpige kelele, inawaruhusu kuvae. So katiba ya chama inawaruhusu kuvae. Na hatufai kudiscriminate mtu kwa sababu amechaguliwa.
Condolences have been conveyed to the family of the late Daniel Arap Moi, the second president of the Republic of Kenya, following the death of his daughter June Moi on Thursday morning. The cause of death is yet to be made public. Following her demise, the family has requested privacy as it comes to terms with her death. June Chebet Moi was Moi's adopted daughter and the last born of his 8 children. In his message, the head of state, President William Ruto, expressed his heartfelt condolences and prayed for the family to have strength as it navigates the trying times. Now, a rights group in Mombasa, together with the residents of Mvita, have protested against the closure of maternity services in the Mvita clinic and turned into an LGBTQ center. Now, led by the chairperson of the union, Salim Karama, they've asked the county governor of Mombasa, Abdul Swamad Nasir, to make clear the closure of these important services in the clinic. Now, the residents have said that they will not allow the continuation of those other services, which has been helping many residents since the days of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. On his part, the chief officer in the Public Health Department of Mombasa County, Abdallah Daleno, has confirmed his domestication due to the small number of residents arriving for maternity services.
Tumetamaushwa na kaunti ya Mombasa kuweza kugeuza maternity hospital kuwa ni facility ya LGBTQ. Kwa hivyo tumekuja kusema na kutoa tahadhari, na hili jambo sisi twajua hii Mvita Clinic iko under county government. Tunamwambia governor kama anajua atubadilishie haraka sana na maternity irudishwe.
Nikauliza maternity iko wapi, wakaniambia maternity ilifungwa kitambo sana. Nikauliza imepelekwa wapi, wakasema sasa hizi wameifunga na wana mpango wa kufanya structure nyingine ya kuanza maternity. Nikamwambia mnafanyaje kuhusu maternity patient? Wakaniambia wanapokea zile emergency peke yake. Sikuwa na nafasi ya kumuuliza kwa ndani imetokea nini, lakini ni ukweli ni kwamba ushahidi huko unasema kwamba wamebadilisha maternity kuwa hospitali ya kutibu LGBTQ patients. Hiyo ni kuonesha kwamba tumepatia LGBTQ nafasi katika community yetu ya Mombasa, na ikiwa amri hii imetoka kwenye hospitali ya county ni kuonesha kwamba hii authority haikutoka hapa chini, na hii ni kitu ambacho tunaikemea sisi. Maana tumekemea ushoga na usago tangu tulipoanza harakati hizi hapa Mombasa, na watu wote wanajua kwamba na umma wote karibu 95%, 98% ya Wakenya ni watu ambao wanapinga jambo hili kwa sababu iko against the Constitution of Kenya.
Jambo la kusikitisha ni hii Mvita Clinic. Hii Mvita Clinic ilijengwa na community, haikujengwa na mtu yoyote wengine. Na tukijenga hii hospitali hapa, tukifikiria kwa itatufaa sisi kina mama katika kuzalisha watoto wanawake zetu wasipate tabu, wala mama ambao wako chini hawajiwezi waje hapa kutibiwa. Lakini leo hii tunaona ajabu, county government ni yetu sisi, na leo wanakubali hii hospitali iwe ya mashoga na masago. Hatutokubali. Nasema tutakufa hapa hospitali, tutalala, tutaamka kuhakikisha kuwa hakuna shoga yoyote wala hanifi yoyote wala msago yoyote ambaye atakuja hapa kutibiwa.
A section of members of parliament in Bungoma County are now asking the government through the DCI to take legal action against people who are suspected to be responsible for the distribution of fake fertilizers in the country. Speaking at Webuye at the National Cereals and Produce Board, led by the Member of Parliament for Webuye East, Martin Wanyonyi, the leaders say that it is against the law for the company to be given a tender and then distribute fake fertilizer, promising to ban the fake fertilizer if it is found in Bungoma.
Upon DCI and KEBS to ensure that there is frequent testing of the fertilizer that is being distributed in our depots and in our cereal boards, because yesterday we have identified Kelly chemicals. Tomorrow it might be somebody else. So we want to see that there is frequent testing and inspection of the fertilizer that is being distributed. And also we must also continue working closely with these companies that we have pre-qualified to supply us with this fertilizer. And I'm giving it a warning to the government and particularly the Cereals Board that Kelly Chemicals fertilizer should not cross the River Nzoia to come to Bungoma. Because if it happens that it comes, I want to assure the government that we are going to set it ablaze, because we don't want our farmers to ever have the fake fertilizer.
All types of fertilizer, including top dressing, should have been brought by now, so that a farmer does not go home to plant and then come back for another type of fertilizer for top dressing. So it is extremely important that we can do that.
Let's get sporty. Now, with anticipation building, the 5th edition of the Kipkeino Classic World Continental Tour Gold is primed to ignite the tracks of Nyayo National Stadium on April 20th. The media launch held on Thursday morning at the very venue where the event will unfold set the stage for what promises to be a thrilling day of athletic prowess and entertainment. Athletics Kenya President Jack Tuwei expressed excitement, urging fans to flock to the stadium for a spectacle like no other in Africa.
No way, find that time. It's a really good start from Omanyala. It's Omanyala and Fred Curley in the middle of your picture. And Omanyala working hard. He's doing everything he can to take a home victory, and he does. Ferdinand Omanyala ignites this stadium. Look what that means to this Kenyan crowd. Look what it means to the Kenyan president. Ferdinand Omanyala, he was born in Nairobi. He studies chemistry at the University of Nairobi. He could not be more of a hometown favourite, and they will be partying in Nairobi tonight. Ferdinand Omanyala invited the rest of the world to come and race him, and he has come out on top.
Well, we're all excited for April 20th, aren't we? All roads will be leading to the Nyayo Stadium for the Kipkeino Classic, and it is always a showstopper, I can assure you. Now, beyond our borders, Ousmane Dembele and Vitinha